All right, welcome back. Jon Heyman sending this yesterday after the Hall of Fame votes were revealed, and I love it. Ichiro missed unanimity by one vote. Easy for me to say. Please step forward, you numbskull. Well said, Jon. And we feel the same way, doggone it. Jon is in studio with us today. We're grateful for that. And as a guy that's voted for the Hall of Fame for a long time, BBWAA guy for years and years and years, I think a lot of people would like to know who that person is. Is there any chance down the road that we'll have to have that transparency?
First of all, it's great to be on the desk. I love it here. I appreciate the invite. You know what? We haven't done a good job reporting about ourselves, right? We never found out the 3 people who didn't vote for Griffey, the 1 person who didn't vote for Jeter, and it wasn't me on Ichiro. I can reveal that now. I just don't think, I think that they're probably embarrassed at this point. People don't like being called a numbskull. And I'm not the only one. I don't know whether other people were impersonating or whatever.
What could have been the reason, do you think, Jon? Like, Matty had a great observation early on about the Rivera thing. What do you think it was?
Mine would be oversight. They forgot to check the box. I was so nervous about it, I looked at it 10 times. I'm like, oh, yes, Ichiro, I vote. I'm not going to be the one, right? I'm not going to be the one. I think so. Or maybe what you said, Babe Ruth wasn't, Willie Mays not unanimous. Maybe, they felt like, nobody should be unanimous. I'd like the person to come forward. I really would.
Yeah. Is it true, Jon, and you could confirm or deny this as you take a look at the final balloting from last night's results, that the BBWAA has pushed for transparency and that the Hall is saying, no, we want to keep it closed? Is that true?
Yeah, I don't know about the Hall, but it does feel like the BBWA would like people to be transparent, because I forgot, that's one box I forgot to check, was to make my ballot public, and Jack O'Connell came back to the 15 of us who forgot to do that, and I immediately said, go ahead and make my ballot public.
Wow, I guess we'll never know. I want to remember that Derek actually found out who it was that didn't vote for him. Am I imagining that? Is that still a mystery?
I think it's a mystery. I don't think we're ever going to know.
So Jack O'Connell knows then, the way if he came back and asked
somebody knows. Well, who's the accounting firm that does it? They know. Yeah. Somebody knows. Somebody tabulated the ballots. So somebody knows. And I just want to say, I think overall, I know that the emphasis on this, thanks to my tweet and everybody else's comments, I think we did a pretty good job. I would like to see Beltran and Andrew Jones make the Hall of Fame. I do believe they are Hall of Famers. And I like the fact, I love what you said, Dan, about the peak, the guys who are great at the peak. And that's why I always voted for Mattingly and guys like that. And I'm glad to see Felix Hernandez. And I voted for several guys I wasn't sure that I want to see on that ballot, because that's the one rule I don't like. I'm not a protest guy, but in this case, I felt like I don't want to see these guys fall off the ballot. So I voted for David Wright. I voted for Felix. I voted for a few guys I think are fairly borderline, not that that's an insult. And I want to see keep going. I mean, King Felix won his Cy Young. He was second twice in a 7-year period. He was top 3 in ERA, OPS against, ERA, and I think we might have to reevaluate Johan Santana, who we knocked off the ballot. I hate the fact that we knocked Keith Hernandez, Lou Whitaker, Kenny Lofton,
Dale
even
Murphy.
Dick Allen off the ballot. They didn't even get the 5%. I don't get it.
Crazy.
I do think we got a great class. Dick Allen always should have been in. His OPS plus is about the same as Willie Mays and Hank Aaron. He should be in. I always voted for Dave Parker, so I'm glad that he's in. I think we did well overall, and I know that the focus is on the one guy who crazily did not vote for Ichiro, right? I mean, 200 hits, 10 years in a row. He came in at age 27 and still managed to get 3,000 hits. He's clearly a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I think the word fame does count, too. He's, world famous.
Fame, that's right. And I'd make a case for Fernando Valenzuela, for Louis Tiant, and Vida Blue in that same context. Fame, the most famous athletes, let alone baseball players of their time. We could go down this Veterans Committee rabbit hole all morning with you, but we want to move on here to some other stuff, including were we a little early on the Kirby Yates signing with the Dodgers story? Has this happened yet?
Well, it's close. It's not official. I don't think he's signed. The word signed is a little tricky. You have to actually put your pen into the paper and sign it. So, there's probably the physical to go, maybe a couple of loose ends, something like that. But he's close to a deal with the Dodgers. I think both sides think it's going to get done. And, players love the Dodgers. Agents love the Dodgers. Yeah. The other teams not so much at this moment. They are the best. I've never seen a team like this where, I'm not an odds guy. I'm not a bettor. I feel like they're like 50-50 to win the World Series this year with this roster. It is amazing. And I've never said that or never thought that about any team before. Their number 5 starter is probably Roki Sasaki. Their 7th inning guy is probably Blake Trinan, who's a great closer. This team is just insanely good.
You know, I really appreciate you bringing up, because all of my conversations this winter, too, with representatives, it's like everybody wants to play for the Dodgers. I don't think it's just about the money. I think that plays a big part in it. But I think the culture that they've established there is one, not only do they have great players, they're great guys. And the environment that they've been able to create there, and Dave does such a wonderful job with it, has created this situation where players from the other team look at what's going on there and go, I want to be part of that.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic clubhouse, and they want to get, not just the clubhouse, they want to get the ring, right? There are guys, veterans going over there saying, I haven't won yet. I got a good chance to win. It's not like I'm going to get in the playoffs and I got a shot at it. This is a team that's stacked, absolutely stacked.
That's a good point.
And, I mean, they've made great deals with great players, and they're great for the clubhouse. Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, 2 of the best in baseball in that clubhouse and on the field. I think that, that deal for Ohtani is just a gift that keeps on giving. And this is not said enough. I know that it was a record deal. He is worth every penny and much more. I have heard they make $100 million plus, way more than $100 million in sponsorship and marketing on him. So he is not just a profitable player, he is an incredibly profitable player. It's $70 million a year, but $68 million deferred. So it's valued at somewhere between $44 and $46 million. And Guggenheim owns the team. They're pretty good investors. They may think it's worth less than $44 million. They may be making a $75 million, $100 million profit on him, and that is just helping them with everything
they turn around,
else.
Though, and put it right back into their club.
Absolutely, and this is a team they've tried forever. Mark Walter, a terrific owner. They have a great front office. They have one of the best managers in baseball. I can't even believe people were talking about whether his job was in jeopardy. That's insanity. I mean, he's got take a look at Dave Roberts' record. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I would say this, too. When your team is that good and your player personnel is that good, you don't even need a marketing budget. Really, it's the crappy teams that need more marketing budget. Oh, wait a minute. We're getting this in just now. There is, speaking of everybody being a Dodger, my goodness, they're at it again. Breaking news, and I think it pertains to the Dodgers based on the logo. They're signing everybody. They're shelling out greenbacks for everybody. They own the city of Los Angeles, and apparently they've reached an agreement with Al Kaline posthumously to join the Los Angeles Dodgers. Interesting. This from Dodger Dog on X. Can't spell Al Kaline without L.A. Mr. Tiger will become Mr. Dodger, and he has signed somehow posthumously a 6-year deal to go to Los Angeles. Yes, everybody wants to be a Dodger. Does that include Max Scherzer? Does he want to return to Los Angeles? He's out there.
Well, he wants to win. There's no question about that. I don't know if there's room. Who knows? Nobody expected they're going to be signing Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates as well. But I do think that the Toronto Blue Jays, who have money left over and are still active, they just signed Santander. They are certainly talking to Pete Alonso, and they did have a Zoom call with Scherzer. And, Scherzer's a very frank guy. I know you guys know him as well. And I think he basically told them, look, I want to win. You guys won 74 games last year. Let's see what the roster is, and before I decide what I want to do, because I don't think it's the millions that are going to decide what he wants to do. He wants to go to a winner. And, if they sign Alonso, that's a pretty good middle of the order. I think they underachieved at 74 wins anyway, and they certainly are a contender. So I think Toronto is probably the most likely team for Scherzer at this point.
That's interesting. I don't know that I've heard a lot of those rumblings before this moment. Toronto, and what started out as a sluggish offseason for the Jays, swinging and missing. They land Santander, to your point, and now maybe more on the way. That's interesting news.
Well, it doesn't hurt to try. Obviously, we know they tried for Ohtani. They tried for Burns, right, you mentioned, and certainly for Soto, and they certainly have money left over. Soto would have been $50 million a year if he had come. They've obviously gotten Santander at $18 million a year. Does that mean they have $32 million to spend? Maybe. And, you could fit Alonso and Scherzer into that potentially, about approximately. and they'd have a pretty formidable team. There's a pretty good list of, Dan and I were going over this earlier, starting pitchers who are left. Pavetta's still out there, Flaherty still out there, Kyle Gibson, Heaney, Quintana, so not a bad list, and obviously Kershaw, and we expect, of course, that he's going to go back to the Dodgers. Everybody else wants to go go to the Dodgers. Kershaw almost has to stay with the Dodgers, right? I mean, is he really leaving the Dodgers at this point?